It's more about how they've looked than necessarily the results. Cubs went 2-4 against the Pirates early on, but the Pirates, I think, felt like the Cubs were a tough team to beat. A little sloppy yesterday.
Yeah, maybe a couple of bad decisions out in the field. I think Ricky Renteria is mostly concerned with the quality of some of the at-bats. And the one thing you don't want to have happen is when you're losing like this is just kind of have that cloud hanging over the clubhouse where there's this heaviness that follows the club every day. We knew it was going to be difficult for this team to win games this year, but you got to continue to battle and focus.
All right, let's check out the highlights from Game 1 yesterday. Frigid day, 38 degrees, pretty good day to pitch. But it's been a good day to pitch for Jeff Samardzija pretty much throughout his first 4 starts. He was very good once again.
Yeah, if you're looking for a silver lining, Jeff Samardzija is one of the silver linings. He was really good yesterday. Punched out 7. He got Votto swinging in there. There's Jay Bruce waving at a split finger pitch. I thought he mixed in his pitches really well yesterday afternoon. And then Billy Hamilton got a little revenge later in the game. This little flare double to start the scoring for the Reds.
Yeah, that made it 1-0 in the 5th inning. And the Reds would tack on in the 6th inning. Zach Cozart off to a slow start. That ball just got past Rizzo. And again, some of that sloppiness we talked about. Finally, they get on the board after 24 straight innings without a run. Luis Valbuena knocks in Starlin Castro. So the Cubs kind of hanging around. 9th inning. Ruziano takes a called 3rd strike. He ended up getting fined after a pretty vociferous conversation he had with Doug Eddings. So you see Alfredo Simon, very good, gave up a run. It was not earned. Samardzija, 4 starts, a 1.29 ERA, but without a win.
Yeah, and I want to focus on what Alfredo Simon did yesterday because that's one of the issues for the Cubs. They really haven't put any pressure on starting pitchers. I flipped back through my scorebook, and I'm looking for a time where they knocked a starter out early, and it just really hasn't happened.
By the way, for the Reds today, former Cub left-hander Sean Marshall is back in their bullpen, so the Reds starting to get a little healthier with Broxton and Marshall back.
Yeah, dangerous lineup, obviously. The bullpen was one of the weak points when you evaluated this club coming in, but Marshall will provide a big lift.
All right, when we come back, we'll get some thoughts from today's Cubs starting pitcher, Edwin Jackson. Stay with us. The Cubs hosting the Reds from Wrigley. Everybody bundled up, Reds and Cubs here from Wrigley Field. Edwin Jackson will get the start today for the Cubs against left-hander Tony Cingrani, and the Cubs may add to their rotation here within the next week or so. Let's go down to the field. More with Kelly Kroll.
Absolutely, guys. Well, it was good to see Jake Arrieta in the clubhouse this morning, smiling. Of course, he's here right now to throw a side session for pitching coach Chris Bosio. He's made 3 starts in Double-A Tennessee, where he's posted a .73 ERA in 12 1/3 innings. And here's where he feels like his progression is right now. He will make one more minor league start before, of course, possibly being added to the team.
Velo was the best it's been in my last outing, low to mid 90s, and I still got a couple ticks and some strength that's still left in the tank. So the progression's been really good. Just continuing to get more precise and more fine-tuned in those areas, and I'm just one step away from being really locked in, and it feels good.
The club will, of course, reevaluate him following that start on Monday, guys. But according to Rick Renteria, he wouldn't go as far as to say it's a definite, but he may be available for the Milwaukee series. And if that happens, just walk through. Do we think Villanueva then moves to the pen, or what happens with the Cubs starting rotation at that point?
Yeah, that would make sense. Carlos has been kind of the premier swing guy in the entire league. Chris Russin, they've got good depth, actually, in terms of starting pitchers, but I would guess Villanueva would head back.
Yeah, obviously the plan was for Arrieta to be part of this rotation. So if he comes out of that start and he's healthy and he feels good, he'll rejoin the rotation, and Carlos will just slide back into the bullpen.
And Russin right now, AAA, was very good in relief his last time out. So we'll see how it goes with Arrieta on Monday, Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, he said he'll be in Daytona. That was another thing he mentioned, was just that the warmth, he's able to at least stretch himself out a little bit more in that situation, and he feels like he's just one step away. So it could be very soon, guys, that we see Jake Arrieta back here for good at Wrigley.
All right, Kelly, thanks very much. We'll have Cubs baseball coming up as they try to end this losing streak. The Cubs and the Reds from the friendly confines. the friendly confines of Wrigley Field as the Cubs celebrate 100 years here in this beautiful ballpark. We're set for Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. The middle game of a weekend, Easter weekend series, the Reds and the Cubs here on CSN. Great to have you with us. Jim DeShays and Len Casper with you. It's been a struggle for the Cubs. They're trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. The bright spot, Anthony Rizzo, has been very good against both righties and lefties so far. Yeah, let's take a look at some numbers comparing Anthony Rizzo this year to last year, and you see much improved. The batting average significantly better, 345 so far through the first 15 games, hitting just $185. The power number's a little bit better last year, but what I like is the approach, staying inside the ball, using all fields, hanging in there very well against left-handed pitching, really staying in counts. When he's falling behind in counts 0-1, 0-2, he's managed to hang in there and have good at-bats. You were talking just recently on the pregame show about getting into a bullpen a little early. It'd be nice if they could jump on Tony Cingrani. And talking with Brandon Hyde down behind the cage during BP today, he said, yeah, we just need to score 5 or 6 runs early, ambush this starting pitcher, and just kind of create an atmosphere where guys can relax a little bit. Obviously pressing. And Edwin Jackson, he needs to step up too. He's made 3 starts so far, and he's scuffled. Let's talk about the Cubs right-hander. They gave up 4 runs, able to hang around against the Cardinals his last time out. Decent numbers against the Reds. Yeah, what really grabs my attention in 5 starts against the Cincinnati club, 30 punch-outs, only 4 walks in 5 career starts. Tony Cingrani, the young left-hander from the Chicago area, high fastball guy. Wind's blowing in today. That should help him against the Cubs. He's made 4 starts, 1-1 with a 4.15. Reds have won 3 in a row coming in. Let's go down to the field for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
and a Lexus dealer who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. AT&T Uverse. AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. Ford. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
The sun is out, the wind blowing in, but not nearly as hard as it did yesterday. As we get you set for the Reds and the Cubs. The Cubs trying to reverse a disturbing trend. They dropped 16 of their last 17 games here at Wrigley Field against this Cincinnati ball club. And let's get the umpires for you today. Marvin Hudson will call balls and strikes. Corey Blazers at first. The crew chief is Jim Joyce. He's at second. And Doug Eddings is over there at third.
Might be time to cast some kind of a spell on the Cincinnati club here, coming into Wrigley and having all this success.
They've really owned this series the last few years. Overall, they've won 24 of their last 30 against the Cubs, and got to turn it around at some point because these teams will play 19 games total before it's all said and done. As Chris Bosio chats with yesterday's starter Jeff Samardzija.
4 starts, 7 innings of quality work every time he's gotten to the hill, and still looking for his first W. And he and Anthony Rizzo combined yesterday, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the top half of the 7th on 3-1 putouts over there at first base.
Our Xfinity high-speed action. 3-1. 3-1.
And for good measure, tie Major League record.
All Jeff can do is continue to pitch as well as he has. If he does, he's going to pile up some wins sooner than later, for sure.
No, either that or he's just going to bang his head against the wall all season long. Hopefully the team will start to put some points on the board for him. That's, one of the concerns when you have a struggling club, and especially when you have a younger club, you get into a funk like this, and, that's always the challenge for the manager and his staff. How hard do you push? Do you start to bark at guys and push, or do you actually back off the throttle a little bit and make sure they continue to relax? Because the tendency for the players is to press. Guys have a lot of pride, and when they're struggling, they're going to try a little bit harder, and sometimes that works against you as a ball player.
So the Cubs take the field behind right-hander Edwin Jackson. Let's check out the Reds Southwest starting lineup written out by first-year skipper Brian Price. A speedy Billy Hamilton has yet to get it going offensively. The Cubs hope to keep it that way. Joey Votto has really thrived since moving up to the 2 spot. Brandon Phillips left early yesterday with back spasms, but he's back in there. Jay Bruce cleans up. Todd Frazier is at third. Very good against the Cubs in his career. Chris Heise in for Ryan Ludwig. Remember, he fouled a ball off his left big toe, so he's day-to-day. Mesoraco the catcher, Cozart the shortstop, and Cingrani the pitcher.
Cubs in the field this afternoon. A little different look in the outfield. Lake Bonifacio and Ruggiano cover left, center, and right. Mike Holt in there at third. Castro and Barney up the middle. Rizzo so good yesterday at first. Castillo behind the plate, and our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher for the Cubs this afternoon is veteran right-hander Edwin Jackson, and through 3 starts, the 2 looking for his first W. 0-1 with a 6.19 ERA. The fastball command has been inconsistent for him. He's walked 11 in 16 innings, and he's been victimized by the big inning. That was the case last year for him, and it's something he'd like to put in the rearview mirror.
Cubs cannot complain about what they've gotten out of their starting rotation as a whole. Just haven't been able to have enough leads going into the late innings. The Cubs have scored just 1 run now over their last 3 games, going back to that doubleheader in New York on Wednesday.
Yeah, Edwin's had his struggles. Carlos Villanueva's made 2 starts, 1 really good, and then he gave up 9 in that start against St. Louis. But, as a group, the Cubs starters with a 3.77 ERA. That's 7th best in the National League.
Switch hitting Hamilton will start it. Reds got incredible production out of their leadoff hitter last year, Shin-Soo Choo. On base percentage in the 400s. Hamilton right now below 230 in that regard, but it's still early. Cornermen play in on the grass.
Offensively, a work in progress. They're trying to get him to slap the ball, hit it on a line the other way.
And we're underway, ball 1.
And with that in mind, the Cubs really pinch at the corners and play him as an off-field hitter and shallow in the outfield.
.46 degrees. So we're at least trending in the right direction. It was 38 yesterday with a wind chill of 32. We should be in really good shape tomorrow. Strike call. East wind at just 5 miles an hour. Line shot to center. Caught by Bonifacio. Joey Votto. Reached twice yesterday on walks, 0 for 3. 6 starts in the 2-hole. His on base percentage .556. One and one. Votto and Phillips in the lineup today have made 798 starts together. That's the most on the right side of the infield for any duo in Cincinnati Reds history. They do not, however, have the active lead in that regard. Ryan Howard and Chase Utley. There's a base hit for Votto. Howard and Utley have made 957 starts together for the Phillies.
Well, this is classic Joey Votto here, isn't it? Just pinging a line drive the other way.
Wasn't sure we'd see Phillips in the lineup today. Went 1 for 2 on Friday, but then left with back spasms. Apparently that back responded to a fairly unfamiliar hotel bed. Yes, it's never good to have back problems, but especially when you're on the road. We've heard stories about guys actually suffering injuries because of sleeping on bad mattresses on the road.
Go from one mattress to another mattress to an airplane. Maybe you slept on the floor.
Strike on Phillips. I'm going to guess he did not, but you never know. Foul tip. The back issue actually started in the top of the first inning. You pointed out, very difficult to do anything on a baseball field when your back's bothering you.
Yeah.
Second year in a Cub uniform for Jackson. This is his 35th start as a Cub. Low and in.
Reds have been aggressive on the bases this year. They stole 5 bases in the game yesterday. And obviously with Hamilton, the speedster, at the top of the order, you're concerned about him. But it looks like Brian Price is going to be willing to give the green light to any number of guys in his lineup. Cincinnati trails only the Dodgers in team stolen bases.
First strikeout for Edwin. 2 down in the inning.
Trying to go down and away, it looked like. So he didn't make his pitch, but he got his guy. Running fastball up and in on Phillips. A different wrinkle there. Yeah. Softer breaking ball, a little get over curveball.
I think Bruce was expecting that from Jackson. Probably about the slowest pitch you'll see him throw. A good one.
Yeah, you throw that pitch because you think the guy's sitting on a fastball and he's just going to take it, and you drop it in there for strike one. He got a swing and miss with it. But you know, and we've talked about this in each of his starts. We saw him in spring training. One game in particular, you know, more curveballs, more changeups. And he did try that some last start. Primarily a fastball slider pitcher.
You know, 2 strikes, that hanger would not be something you'd want to throw, but early in the count, as they're not expecting Jackson to throw that pitch. Ball laced into center. So 2 singles here in the first, both off the bat of left-handed hitters, Votto and Bruce.
That time it looked like the intent was to try to crowd Bruce a little bit, and it was out over the plate. Going back to last year, what we saw with Edwin was, you know, again, the big innings and big innings early, oftentimes his undoing before he gets settled in.
Well, the third baseman, Todd Frazier.
Given the struggles of the Cubs offensively, you can't afford to let the opposition throw a crooked number up early. A good try there. So just missed that outside edge. Frazier, good fastball hitter. He's good middle away and up.
Hop to Darwin Barney, and that will end the inning. 2 hits, 2 left. Reds don't score. The Cubs hope to when we return. Denny's Beverage Depot will donate $100 to JDRF. Yum, yum.
Oh, like
Nachos
when
in a
they get
helmet.
soggy like that.
Cubs Southwest starting lineup written out by Rick Renteria. Cubs leadoff man is Emilio Bonifacio. Junior Lake in left. Rizzo, Ruggiano, Castro, and Alt in the middle. Rizzo and Castro have been terrific at home. Castillo the catcher. Barney getting the start at second with Jackson the pitcher hitting ninth.
Alexis pursuing perfection. Starting pitcher for Cincinnati this afternoon is left-hander Tony Cingrani. He's off to a good start, 1-1 with a 2.60 ERA. Those a boatload of fastballs. He likes to start you down and then climb the ladder with a high riding fastball. And he'll mix in a slider and a changeup.
He has pitched here before, but I'm sure has some family and friends in attendance. Born in Evergreen Park, Illinois, went to Lincoln Way Central High in New Lenox, about 40 miles southwest of the city. And a first pitch strike on the switch hitting Bonifacio. Basically Cingrani's season last year and how they project him allowed the Reds to let Bronson Arroyo leave via free agency. Broken bat flare. Phillips just couldn't get it. I have to think with the no back problems he would have been able to get it. Good effort. But Bonifacio's on with nobody out.
It comes with just 6 base hits in the ball game yesterday, so you'll take anything you can get. A little shattered bat flare just beyond the reach of Phillips off the end of his glove. Bonifacio off with a leadoff single here.
Comes Junior Lake. Oh for 4 with 3 strikeouts yesterday. Cingrani's the first pitcher ever, according to Elias, as Lake went, to start his career without allowing more than 5 hits in any of his first 21 starts. He's got a great pickoff move. Cubs are certainly aware of that. And we know Bonifacio's already been picked off a few times, including yesterday.
Yeah, if you're going to go, you just take a sizable lead and go on first move. And I hope he goes home. If you try to read it and then break, probably going to throw you out.
At 6 last year, had 4 this spring, and already has nailed Matt Adams of the Cardinals in the regular season.
That noted base stealer, Matt Adams, big city. Where was he going? He wasn't running. He just got picked off.
Bonifacio's first move was back as Cingrani went to the plate 0-2. Better be safe than sorry, I suppose.
Yeah, and you're not as concerned with the ground ball double play with Cingrani on the mound. He's an extreme fly ball pitcher. If he were a sinker baller, you'd be thinking, well, we got to find a way to put some runners in motion here, stay out of the double play. Less likely to happen with him on the mound. Well, hard to hit. Lifetime batting average against him is just 193. This is through 21 major league starts, 29 games overall. Had a cup of coffee in 2012 and then came up and really did a nice job for the Reds last year. And he was 7-4 in 18 starts with an ERA below 3. Doesn't really fit the profile of the Cubs lineup, but a patient club could work some walks against Cingrani, and being a fly ball pitcher, knock one out of the ballpark every now and then. So, the fact that the wind's blowing in here a little bit certainly helps this young lefty.
On
Step
pause. Another throw to first.
Junior had asked for time. So he's going to hold, and that's close to a balk.
Yeah.
It's a great move, and that's what makes a good move. It is close to a balk. Numbers on Cingrani so far brought to you by Lexus. 3 starts, 1-on-1 with a 260.
Bonifacio runs, the ball is bounced foul. Now, what makes Cingrani's move so effective is that obviously his leg kick looks very similar to the pickoff attempt and the pitch, but it's where his right foot lands. You've got 45 degrees to work with, essentially between home plate and first base. You've got a 45-degree angle. If you go 46 degrees toward home plate, that's supposed to be a balk.
Yeah, so
you're kind of guessing if you're an umpire.
Right. It's just you don't have a protractor. Years and years ago, they actually drew a line out there. That didn't last long. So if you're Eric Hinsky, you're in Blazer's ear down there, the first base umpire. Hey man, he's balking. He's going more towards home, and that's the defining point for the umpire. Is he going more towards first or more towards home? So Hinsky probably lobbying, hey, that front foot's drifting more towards home plate. And if ultimately they do call a balk on him, Cingrani and the Reds will argue, wait a minute, man, this is what I've been doing all game long, and now you're going to call it on me. That's just a little preview of what's going to happen later in the game.
You sound like you've been in that spot before. 3-2. Bonifacio takes off. It's ball 4. How about that? Lake started 0-2, but he kept grinding and works the walk.
And maybe the Reds a little too worried about Bonifacio here in the first inning against a struggling club. Understandable that they would think Bonifacio would be looking to run, but you start to nibble a little bit. You divert your focus to the base runner. You end up walking a man. You put yourself in a position to give up a big inning, which is what the Cubs sorely need.
Two more hits for Anthony yesterday, so he's now hitting .439 over his last 11 games. Cozart right behind the runner Bonifacio at second. As the pitch is low and outside on a fastball. It's early, but it really feels like, particularly against lefties, that Anthony's bought into the less is more idea, not over swinging.
Yeah, you got to pick your spots. Against tough left-handers, just be willing to be a line drive hitter, shoot the ball the other way. We've even seen him bunt for a base hit against a shift. That's a perfectly placed fastball there. Mentioned in the open how he's staying in counts better. This year, after falling behind 0-1, he's a .344 hitter. Last year, about $150 after falling behind 0-1. And, it's a small sample size, of course, not a lot of at-bats. After 0-2 this year, he's 4 out of 12, .333. And league average in that situation is probably in the low 100s.
Cingrani coming home, and it's low on a breaking ball.
A lot of it is just, the more at bats you get at this level, the more comfortable you get. You get more of a book on opposing pitchers and opposing teams, because teams tend to attack hitters the same way. Now, obviously, Cingrani's not going to pitch to Rizzo the same way Homer Bailey is. The hitter will tell you they note tendencies. Hey, this club, for whatever reason, is always working me in. This other club feeds me a steady diet of breaking balls.
Pitcher's strike. 2-2.
Got a little bit of this crossfire delivery, and that's a tough pitch for a left-handed hitter right there. The breaking ball that runs to the outside corner stays in the zone a little bit longer. That good crossfire fastball to the outside corner, tough pitch to handle.
Swung on and missed. For strike 3. Big first out for Cingrani. Now, there's some life on that 92 for sure.
There's some life and there's some deception. And he slings it up there. See, Anthony gets that front side down, and he's not a big load there. He's just trying to punch it the other way. It still can't get to that good swifty from Cingrani.
Ruggiano 3 out of 22. Ball 1. Blocked by Mesoraco. That ball actually came up and hit the batter. Came right back to the catcher.
Good stop. Then he got a little good fortune. Stayed in front of him after hitting Ruggiano's leg. Cingrani, of course, with that good move, tough to run on. But obviously that's nullified when you're running from second base.
Big cut at that one. He fouled it. It's 2-1. First inning. Reds left a couple. Cubs have 2 on. Nice crowd today, especially out there in the bleachers.
Holiday weekend. Probably a lot of folks visiting from out of town. Haven't been to a Cubs game in a while. Let's go to the ballpark. Watch a little hardball.
Castro on deck. Cingrani has really slowed the pace here with base runners. And it's 2-1 to Ruggiano as a called strike.
Menard's pitch tracks right on the outside edge, bottom of the knees. Do that over and over again, and you're going to have a good day. Well, here you go. You start the base runners. Cingrani's a strikeout pitcher, so you run the risk of a strike him out, throw him out, double play, but you do have really good speed on the bases.
I would say yes.
Not overly concerned about the ground ball double play, but we've talked about this a number of times during this stretch where the Cubs are having a hard time scoring runs. Do you push the action, or
they're not running, and that ball is fouled into the upper deck?
You want to kind of push things a little bit, but you also become very guarded about putting your base runners at risk when you don't have that many of them. And you have to know your hitter too. Is your hitter the kind of guy who might jump at a bad ball with runners in motion? Might he go out of the zone?
Slide step in the pitch. Base hit left field. Cubs will get the lead. Bonifacio around third. He will score, and it's 1-0.
Giano likes that fastball. It's down a little bit, but over the plate. Somewhere David Kaplan is smiling, saying, I told you Ruggiano was going to have a big day.
That's right, he did. Still first and second. Now Lake in scoring position. Ruggiano at first, and it's Castro.
Yeah, I was really surprised Segrani using a slide step there in that first and second situation. For me, I think he's being a little too concerned with the base runners.
That's a strike. Starlin, 621 career big league games. He comes in with 710 career hits. Only 24. Mike Leake will go for the Reds tomorrow. Carlos Villanueva for the Cubs. You heard in our pregame coverage, Jake Arrieta may be back within the next week, depending on how it goes Monday, and it could be his final rehab outing. Swing and a miss on a changeup.
I think the previous pitch was supposed to be a changeup too, and didn't have feel for it at all. The one you see number 3 there on our pitch tracks, way up. This time he gets it down, drifting off the outside edge, and Castro a little overly anxious there.
Two pitch. He pops it up, but it will get out of play over behind the Reds dugout.
Granny, the type of pitcher that usually runs a high pitch count, a lot of foul balls, a lot of deep counts. He's up to 27 here already in the first. If this were a round of golf, he'd be on the clock. Sure, the group ahead of you is 2 holes up in front.
This one could be playable over near the dugout. And in and out of the glove of Mesoraco. He got to the railing, but might have been a bit distracted about that barrier. And that'll be an error and new life for Starlin.
And finds out where he is, puts his hand on the railing.
He just missed it.
Got to take the goat head out of his glove.
Pitch. Foul. Foul ball. Quick call made by Marvin Hudson.
Reds defensively are quite good. That's the 7th error they've committed this year. Frazier made one yesterday. They were near the top of the league last year in terms of fewest errors committed. That's been the case so far this year as well.
Full count, 3-2. Mike Alt on deck.
So if you're Starlin Castro, you have to kind of go back through the at-bat and how he's been worked. Can't sell out on a fastball here. I'm not saying he won't throw one. He throws a lot of them. I would not be surprised if Meserosko asked for that changeup again that he got Starlin to chase earlier.
Double play ball. Cozart the flip. Phillips the turn to end the inning. The Cubs do get on the board first and lead 1-0.
And back out on the bump. And following his last outing, one of the things he mentioned to me was getting back in rhythm. That's something he really wanted to do. So I followed up with pitching coach Chris Bosio and said, how do you work on that exactly during a side session? And he said, you know what, first of all, I think rhythm is all a mental thing. In his opinion, he feels like Jackson has relied on his athleticism too much throughout his career, and he wants to see him really use his mind out there and work a pitcher. And he says he's got the stuff. He just needs to be able to rely on it and attack with any pitch, not just his fastball, any pitch, guys. So we saw a little bit of that in the first inning, but here as he hits the middle of the order with the Reds, JD, what would you like to see him use a little bit more of in his repertoire?
Well, I think, we talked about it earlier, change up against the left-handed hitters could be a good weapon for him. A little get-over curveball we saw. And he starts there with an off-speed pitch of some sort, a little slider or curveball.
That was a curve, yeah.
So, clearly he's showing a willingness here to change things up a little bit.
Chris Heisey in there with his 6th start of the year. We mentioned Ludwig day-to-day popped up. This will be the shortstop's play. It's Castro for the out. Time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag CubsFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in our broadcast later today. Brought to you by AT&T.
With Edwin, too, if you have great fastball command, you don't have to have that many quality secondary pitches. But, he doesn't have great fastball command. He has good life on his fastball. We've seen him at 96, 97 miles an hour. Sometimes he gets good sink on it. If he can throw the curveball for strikes or throw just enough off-speed pitches to plant that seed in the hitter's mind, he'll get away with some missed fastballs. Might not hit his spot, but he'll get away with it.
That's fair, and Meserosko stays hot. It's a one-out double, second hit of the series for the Reds catcher.
This homestand, the Cubs will celebrate the Tens decade with music, food, and giveaways that reflect that era. For more information about the Tens celebration, visit WrigleyField100.com. You got the Reds here again tomorrow, and then 4 with the Diamondbacks, including the highly anticipated birthday game. That's Wednesday. Get your tickets at Cubs.com. So special food throughout the ballpark, retro giveaways all summer long.
Crank up a little Al Jolson. Good to go. Strike called on Cozart.
There's 2 quality pitches.
0-2.
Good heaters down in the zone. You know what would be fun would be to invite the fans to come out dressed in the garb of that era, like Sundays during the homestand. If we're celebrating the Tens, try to get people to come out here dressed the way they did back in 1914.
Off the outside corner.
Brian Price has got Mesoraco flying beneath the radar, doesn't he? Hitting him down towards the bottom of the order, but he's hitting like a middle of the order guy right now. He's going to be an interesting guy to keep an eye on to see if he's turned a corner offensively. High expectations for him when they first drafted him. They thought he would be an offensive force. So far in his career, it really hasn't played out that way. Still a young guy.
The job is his after Ryan Hannigan was dealt to the Rays. 1-2 from Jackson. Cozart able to hold on his swing.
Good call.
Two and two on Cozart. The pitcher's on deck. Here it is. Ground ball to short. Castro will get Cozart at first. He thought about Mesoraco, decided that was already 1 out. I'll get the second out with the pitcher coming up.
Yeah, I think he made the right play. I mean, they might have had a shot at him, but in this situation, make sure you get an out. He almost hesitated a little too long. That was pretty close at first base. So he takes a look, a little hesitation. Cozart selling out down the line. Made it pretty close at first.
So it's Cingrani. Can handle the bat, at least a small sample size, 35 career at bats, 257, including 2 hits already this year in 6 tries.
That's way above average.
So in New York, Al Leiter does some Yankee games. You looked up your career numbers, and your average was higher than Al's.
Well, because he came into the booth and he said, "Hey," he said, "I think I was a worse hitter than you." And I said, "No way, man."
And he was right.
He was in terms of average, but he had a few doubles. So yeah, I think I was selling myself short. I said I'm an 079, and it turns out I'm like an 088, and he was an 085. Two proud guys.
I was going to say, I'm very proud of you, partner.
Take that, Al.
The 2-0 is a strike, 2-1. Interesting. Ronnie has that top hand. He holds it down by his leg before he gets ready to look at the pitch. 2-2. Waves. That's strike 3. Ugly swing. Yeah. Not sure if it was uglier than this one from Billy Hamilton yesterday as we go to break.
I hit 088, but I never did that. And the Rangers, as they close out their set in Texas, don't miss White Sox Rangers tomorrow at 1:30 on Comcast Sports Net. They got him done. Back in the Lone Star State. He's off to a good start. An OPS up over 900. It'll be easy against you, though.
Me? Oh.
You.
Yeah, Rangers a 12-0 winner last night. Martin Perez, 3-hitter. Cubs lead 1-0. Bat here in the bottom of the second. How about an early trade? Ike Davis going from the Mets to the Pirates for right-handed reliever Zach Thornton and a player to be named later. There's Mike Alt, former Ranger.
Change of scenery might do Ike Davis well.
That ball crushed to deep left for Alt. Home run. It's fair just around the pole. Well, I thought that ball was easily a home run off the bat, but he made it close. Maybe the wind pushing that ball slightly toward foul territory, and the Cubs now lead 2-0.
Forward home run replay will show Mike Alt going deep for the third time this year. Grani trying to cut that fastball in on his hands, just never got it in there. A good swing by Alt. Head down, hands through. It's hooking, but it's fair. And the Cubs lead by 2.
We had lunch today with the Reds radio crew of Marty Brenneman and Jeff Brantley, and Cowboy was asking us about Alt. He said, I just, for whatever reason, haven't seen him play in person. And the first pitch he sees from Alt is a home run. Yeah. So according to Jeff Brantley, he's the greatest player in the history of baseball. There's Jeff on the right.
Can't get Mike Alt out.
Castillo bounces to Frazier for the out. We'll bring up Darwin Barney. Darwin has now started half the Cubs games. This is game number 16 in his 8th start, so it's a different role for him this year. Called strike.
And there's only one way to fix it, and that's just keep grinding and perform. And if he starts to hit with some authority, maybe reclaim his spot as an everyday guy. You know, Renteria was going to ride Emilio Bonifacio as hard as possible, as hot as he was to start the season. Now Emilio's cooled off some, so there will be opportunities for Barney to state his case. Somebody make a play down there.
I think we've got one ball in our home television booth since I've been here. And that one was close. Wind in the 1-2, and Barney able to hold.
Well, you saw a lot more of Darwin in spring training than I did, and one of the first things you told me when I got down there was that he's had a lot of really good at bats, patient, working walks, and we've seen that approach here in the early going.
Yep. Hitting for average as he pops one up. It's Cozart. Don't miss the exciting opportunity to go behind the scenes of the legendary home of the Cubs with Wrigley Field tours. They include visits to the press box, clubhouses, dugouts, and a chance to actually step on the field. This must-see Chicago attraction houses 100 years of history. Wrigley Field tours are offered on both game days and non-game days, so go to Cubs.com/tours to book yours today. Jackson batting, leading 2-0. How about Aaron Harang? He had a no-hitter for 7 innings, threw 121 pitches, and got yanked last night, but the Braves beat the Mets 6-0. Was not a no-hitter. Luis Avilan gave up a 2-out single in the 8th to David Wright. So Harang leads the National League with a 0.70 ERA.
And with 6 different organizations in the last 2 years, proving that the big fella still got a little something left. My goodness, he's been good. I love the disconnect between he and the manager, Freddie Gonzalez, in the post-game comments. Aaron saying, it had to kill Freddie to take me out. It had to be a tough decision. And Freddie was like, that wasn't a hard decision at all. I need this guy for the long haul.
Swing and a miss by Jackson to end the inning. But Mike Olt on the first pitch of the 2nd inning with a home run just inside the foul pole. The Cubs lead 2-0.
Reds. In-depth stats, player predictions, and analysis. Follow the action with Cubs in-game live on CSNChicago.com. Brought to you by Comcast Business Class. A lot of Easter bonnets in the stands today. Well, some woman, she had some funky hat on with stuffed animals and the whole deal. With some rabbit ears.
You got a good one working.
I got my toque working. Don't really need it as much today as yesterday.
You're about a 7-footer with this thing. Here's Hamilton, second time through the order, the bunt. And the throw, and really no opportunity for Olt. If Hamilton gets down the bunt like that, might as well forget it. And Olt really took a spill after that throw.
Yeah, as a third baseman, you have to start where you normally start for a guy who can bunt and then move in, 3 or 4 more strides, I think. I mean, you really have to come way in like they do in fast pitch softball and just kind of dare him to try to slap the ball by you.
Well, I've already mentioned Jeff Brantley. I'll mention him again. He told me before the game he thought Deion Sanders, I think they were teammates, was the fastest guy he'd ever seen, and he thinks Hamilton is faster.
He's so fast he can turn out the lights and get under the covers before the room gets dark. Olt sells out, does everything he can.
Ground ball. Barney with a backhand. They get one. They got them both. What a play.
Boy, how about that for a big league double play? Nice pick. Good feed from Barney, and then Castro able to get enough on that throw to get Votto.
Just like that, 2 outs. We have a couple of guys who won Gold Gloves at second base last couple of years. Phillips and Barney in the ballpark. Pretty good friendly battle in that regard defensively. Phillips grounds out, and just like that, the inning's over. On Comcast Sportsnet. Joakim Noah and the Bulls are on the west side as they take on John Wall and the Wizards. Coverage starts at 5:30 with McDonald's Bulls pregame live. Bulls and Wizards tomorrow at 5:30 on CSN. Best of luck to the Chicago Bulls and obviously the Blackhawks, both participating in the postseason this spring. How about a 3-pitch inning? You don't see many of those.
No, you don't, because usually if there's 2 outs after 2 pitches, the next guy's going to take a pitch or 2. But Phillips trying to ambush Edwin Jackson, grounds back to the mound.
There's a first pitch, bunt single, then the double play, and the ground out. Bonifacio swats one into left. It's 2 for 2.
Little flare just beyond the reach of Brandon Phillips. First time up for a knock, this time a solid line drive single, and Bonifacio 2 out of 2 on the afternoon. See how much attention Cingrani pays to Bonifacio this time around.
At least a little.
You know, I'm guessing these throwovers and holding the ball, all that coming from the Reds dugout.
Side on Junior Lake.
So 1 pickoff attempt, 1 quick pitch. Against a guy like Cingrani, as a hitter, you tell yourself, get the ball down. Against most pitchers, you think, they try to sink the ball or keep it down around the knees. You're thinking, let's get him up. But
fly ball to center. Lots of room for Hamilton. Sunglasses on. Bonifacio went back to tag, but he'll hold there. Good throw back to the infield from the former shortstop.
he's up in the zone, very difficult to get on the backside of that ball and hit it on a line. So try to get him down a little bit. Yeah, Hamilton making the transition to the outfield. Obviously the speed is there to cover center field. He's got a real good arm too. If Anthony would consider trying to push a little bunt towards third base. Frazier's way off the line.
They worked him away in his first at bat. Eventually he struck out. Arno must wins really until you do the math late in the season. This does feel like an important one for this team. Edwin Jackson starting. He has struggled early. His offense had been very cold this week. They had lost 5 in a row coming in. Two and two. And just talking to Rick Renteria, a lot of it for him is about the process, doing the right things. He has Said it many times. It's not as much for him right now about the numbers as it is doing the right things. And if you do those consistently, the results will follow.
Well, you know, if you're a young club, an undermanned team, and you know you're not going to win a lot of games, you at least want the effort to be there, and you want the attention to detail to be there.
It'll be a steal for Bonifacio. He took off before that pitch was in the dirt.
You just don't want to feel like you gave away games.
Kick, the 3-2, ball 4, just outside. And now it's Ruggiano. He gave the Cubs the lead with an RBI single in the first.
So far this afternoon, Cingrani has not shown enough command of his changeup or his curveball to get the hitters thinking about anything other than the fastball.
Six base runners already for the Cubs, including the Alt home run.
Nothing wrong with coming out of your shoes here with a big swing on 2-0.
Ronnie throws, and he did air it out, but he missed a change.
Yeah. That was the best changeup Cingrani's thrown here this afternoon. Didn't want to give in. But again, you know, you got a couple strikes to play with, so nothing wrong with cheating there on 2-0. I'd rather see that than see a guy be late on a 2-0 fastball.
Inside, 3-1. Same rule applies here.
And that's what we saw a lot of on the last road trip. Cub hitters in fastball counts getting beat by fastballs.
And the bases are now loaded. 3 walks in the game, 2 here in this inning for Cingrani. And the pitching coach Jeff Pico, former Cub, will head out to the mound. AT&T U-verse multi-view. Single by Bonifacio, then he stole second. Rizzo walked. Ruggiano walked. Pretty interesting. Jeff Pico, complete game shutout, his major league debut back on May 31st, 1988. And it was against the Reds. So they're full for Castro. Bounced into a double play to end the first inning. In the dirt, ball 1. Cingrani clearly vulnerable today, and Cubs already leading by 2. Trying to break it open here in the third.
You know, when Jeff Pico did that, he became the first Cub to throw a shutout in his major league debut since Bill Lee, no, not that Bill Lee, on May 7th, 1934.
So what, about eight decades
Yeah.
went by in between those outings.
Here's your random factoid of the day.
It's 2-1. To third, knocked down by Frazier. And he'll just go to third to force Rizzo. Wow, that ball was walloped. It'll be an RBI for Castro. It's now 3-0. As Bonifacio scores his second run of the day. I think I flinched up here.
Oh, my, this ball was blistered. I'm not sure where it got Frazier, but he was able to recover and get it out. Unfortunately for Castro, it was right at Frazier. Jumped up and got him in the midsection.
Cubs have scored now in every inning.
Picket fence.
Alt homered on the first pitch he saw from Cingrani.
This is the second picket.
First and second, the pitch, and did it hit him? No, it did not. The inside, 2 balls, no strikes.
And certainly not in these last few games, and for the most part, not much all year so far have the Cubs been able to chase a starting pitcher, get into the bullpen early, attack that soft underbelly, a long relief.
Well, Frazier backed up, a little bobble, but still time to get Castro at second. Cubs get another run. They lead 3-0 after 3.
hit by Starlin Castro. He has now hit safely in 11 of his last 14 games in the 5 slot today. And I asked him, talk to Rick Renteria a little bit about the flexibility he has with his lineup. And guys, he mentioned being able to lead off with Bonifacio or Lake, even Castro at times, but really likes the way he is swinging the bat when he is in the 5-hole or the 6 slot. He just feels like he's got a little less pressure on him. He sees him swinging more freely, and certainly today it paid off.
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, he's been really good, especially at home. And the Cubs with a 3-0 lead. Jay Bruce will start it for the Reds here in the 4th. 3-pitch inning for Jackson in the 3rd. He starts him with a curveball that misses up and away.
Well, Bruce the slugger looked like he was thinking about possibly pushing a butt down that third base line. With the strong pull shift on for him. There you see the defensive alignment.
One and two.
Slider, slider, slider. Maybe try to jam him with a piece of cheese here.
Looks like they're going right back to the breaking ball. Full 3-2. Frazier on deck.
4 sliders in a row. After seeing a couple out there, Bruce less inclined to chase.
Payoff delivery fouled out of play.
Well, that's a great example of what we were talking about earlier. If he could throw enough breaking balls to get the hitters off his fastball, he can get away with some. That one was over the heart of the plate to a pretty good fastball hitter, but Bruce, because of those sliders, a little bit tardy on the fastball.
Missed his spot, and that's a leadoff walk.
Every Sunday is Kids Sunday here at Wrigley Field. Tomorrow the Cubs play one more with the Reds. Game time is 1:20. First 5,000 kids 13 and under will receive a Cubs die-cast train engine, which is the first of 10 Cubs retro toy giveaways. After the ball game, the first 1,000 kids 13 and younger will have the opportunity to run the bases. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Leadoff man on for the Reds. The pitch to Frazier is popped up. Rizzo will head over near the tarp and no play.
Frazier's from New Jersey. He's a big Sinatra fan, so when he's at home, when he comes up to bat, they always play a Sinatra song.
He played on the 1998 Little League World Series championship team from Toms River, New Jersey. Title game, he went 4 for 4 with a home run against Japan.
Toms River, that's where the Leiter boys are from. You mentioned Al Leiter earlier.
Oh, right, yeah.
And how I was a much better hitter than he was. He and brother Mark, also a big league pitcher from Toms River.
Frazier later went to Rutgers. Lots of action underway and some games pretty late. Blue Jays are going to the bottom of the 9th in Cleveland with a 5-0 advantage, and in Washington the Cardinals have a 4-2 lead over the Nationals in the top of the 9th. Nationals a 3-1 winner last night. Yadier Molina with a throwing error. Michael Wacha, a wild pitch, 2 unearned runs in the 7th inning. That broke the tie. And Gio Gonzalez the victory. 0-2 outside, 1-2. Another American League action. Detroit leading the Angels 4-1 in the bottom of the 7th. They're tied in Boston. O's and Sox 2-2 in the 7th. Very close, but he just got in. Kansas City 5-2 over the Twins in the 5th.
Should get a good look at it here. I don't think he was leaning. He was just trying to set his lead out there, and caught him leaning just a little bit. You never know. Looking to steal more bases this year.
Swing and a miss. Third strikeout for Jackson.
Down goes Frazier. I have to say, once a series against the Reds.
Here's Heisey, who hit his first career grand slam on Sunday as a pinch hitter against Tampa Bay.
Oh,
out,
yeah.
Billy Hatcher.
The fact that they came close once convinced Edwin Jackson that maybe he'd get his man. He put a little more on it. Quick feet, and he steams it over there at about 94. Tilt on the slider, really good for Jackson here today, especially the last couple innings. I don't know if it's just a matter of staying on top a little bit more. That's my guess. A little higher arm slot, or more consistently on top. That's what gives you that downward tilt to the slider.
A lot of swings and misses. 0-2.
Is he not able to pick up the spin? Got a lot of options now. 0-2. Jam him with a heater. Another slider off the plate.
Swing and a miss.
Man, that was beautiful.
As he could not find the slider. And that at bat. Back-to-back Ks, 2 outs.
Went back to the well with the slider and a perfectly executed pitch by Jackson. That was nice. You see numbers 1 and 2 there, and then look at the placement of that final one. Stole 7 bases last year, was caught 3 times. Most he has ever stolen in a major league season was the year before. It was 9 out of 12 in 2012. Worth keeping an eye on, but I wouldn't obsess over him. He is in a slider groove right now. He's got the feel for that pitch and leaning heavily on it.
expecting it to.
Yeah. So right now you're on this little roll where you're feeling really good about your stuff. The ball's jumping out of your hand. You're executing your slider to perfection. You feel real good about yourself if you're Edwin Jackson. You're starting to think, well, what am I going to punch him out with here? Slider down and away, or do I take another shot with a heater up? Slider down and away.
Fly to left. Should be no problem for Lake. And it is not. Jackson's been very good early on, and he carries a 3-0 lead to the bottom of the fourth. Daily military recognition. Got a great hand here at Wrigley Field. Cubs leading the Reds 3-0, trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Castillo, Barney, and Jackson due up against Cingrani, who's allowed a run per inning so far. The outside corners. We're underway in the Cubs' fourth. High in the air to left. Izzy drifting and just on the edge of the warning track. He hauls it in.
There's been a lot of traffic for the Cubs this afternoon. They've pushed 3 across, and Grani's been able to avoid the big inning. But generally, 1 per inning is not going to get it done for a pitcher. He's going to have to find a way to tighten things up. Pitch count is an issue for him, too. He's made 72 pitches, so the Cubs have had a lot of good lengthy at-bats against him.
Nice note on Twitter from a huge Cub fan, Brian Kincaid. All 1 to Barney. Ryan Knutson is here with 5 people. He says it's their first time at Wrigley Field. They're out in the bleachers and left.
Knudson?
S-E-N.
S-E-N.
I'm assuming it's Knutson.
Sounds Norwegian. There was a pitcher, Mark Knutson.
Mark Knutson.
Yeah, he was an S-O-N. He was nicknamed Toolbox Head.
Okay. Not toolbox.
Toolbox head, yeah, the shape of his head reminds some of the end of a toolbox.
Huh.
Baseball players not necessarily kind when handing out nicknames. Like losing pitcher Mulcahy.
Yeah, you got lucky with JD.
Yeah. Hugh Mulcahy. What's your nickname? Losing pitcher?
2-2 to Barney is inside.
You're like naming a field goal kicker wide right.
It's going to hold up for Hamilton. Good contact for Barney, but it's out number 2. Comes the pitcher Edwin Jackson.
Cingrani looking to post a 0 for the first time today and do it in an efficient manner and save some pitches, and in pretty good shape to do it. 2 outs in the opposing pitcher up there.
Mark Burley is 4-0. The Blue Jays just finished off the Indians 5-0 in Cleveland. 7 shutout innings and an .064 ERA for Burley. Beat Corey Kluber.
Pretty good shot at pitcher of the month in the American League.
We know how fast Burley likes to work. 242 game time. So it's like a vintage Burley 158. Cingrani's 2-2. Jackson hanging in there. We've heard of a crooked number, but how about an upside down number?
Let's go, boys. Let's go out there and hang an upside down number on them.
Swung on and missed, strike 3. Jackson back to work on the mound with a 3-0 lead. There we go. Cubs leading this one 3-0.
Edwin Jackson has settled into a pretty good groove. A couple hard hit balls off him in the first, but he dodged that bullet. He's had base runners in every inning, but so far has kept the Reds off the scoreboard. Last couple of innings, that slider's been really, really sharp for him. He's got 8-9-1 due up here for the Reds in the fifth.
Ball one on Cozart. Happy birthday wishes go out to Joan Shella. Watching at Manor Care in Schaumburg. House foul. Chad Hogue is here from Brookings, South Dakota, celebrating birthday number 40. Daniel Velasco turning 18. Lifted to left. Junior Lake hauls it in. Lance Lynn is 4-0 as the Cardinals held off the Nationals 4-3 the final. He went 5 2/3. Trevor Rosenthal got his 5th save. Jordan Zimmerman took the loss.
So Cardinals put Joe Kelly on the DL with a hamstring issue. You heard what they're going to do to replace him in the rotation?
I have not seen that. You can find it easily, I'm sure.
That's all right. I was just making conversation. Butler, maybe?
Eric Fornatero called up from AAA. But I don't think he's necessarily starting. Bounce back to the pitcher. Underhand toss. Cingrani retired. The Chicago Cubs baseball summer camps offer children 5 to 13 of all abilities the ultimate major league experience for 6 one-week sessions in various Chicago locations. Join fellow teammates for a week of top-notch baseball instruction, exclusive access, and unforgettable moments. Go to Cubs.com/camps to sign up your future Cub today. Ball one on Billy Hamilton. It's a strike. It's 1-1. Ground ball base hit.
Hamilton's been good today. He lined out his first time up, bunt single last time. Quickly erased with Joey Votto, bounced into a double play, but another good swing here. Fastball right down the heart of the plate. He's able to pull the hands through and yank it through the hole, and suspect he'll be looking to steal second base here at some point. For Edwin Jackson, you've got 2 outs in the inning. I wouldn't focus too much on Billy Hamilton. Don't worry about the guy in the batter's box right now.
There he goes. Pitches a strike. The throw a little late. Boy, everything's just got to be perfect to get him. And it almost was.
Yeah, he has so much speed. He carries so much speed into the bag. I thought they were going to get him. At this point, I thought they're going to get him. The throw's a little high, but he's just so fast.
He's going to make outs by oversliding the bag.
Yeah, just make sure you keep the tag on him because he's got so much speed coming in. The tag is on the back leg after the front leg has already made contact with the base.
Meanwhile, 0-1 to Votto. I haven't asked Castillo, but I'm sure he's like a lot of other catchers that they really relish this challenge. Knowing that Hamilton is the premier base stealer in all of baseball, even though he's just getting started.
I think it's a combination
about minors, majors, anywhere.
It's a combination of relish and losing sleep over. You know, he's such a weapon out there on the bases. He can be a real difference maker in a ball game.
He stole 155 in the minors 2 years ago. That established a professional baseball single season record. He set a modern major league record as a September call-up last year, recorded the steal in each of his first 4 career appearances.
Tied for the major league lead with 13 stolen bases in September last year.
Three and one on Votto. Phillips on deck. You don't want to just walk him and put the tying run at the plate. Now Jackson steps off.
Yeah, it was in this very situation yesterday. Different score, though, when Joey Votto kind of backed out on a 3-1 fastball, just assuming that Jeff Samardzija was going to try to nibble out a corner or maybe try a split finger pitch. And fastball was right there for him. But in this situation, I think if I'm Edwin, I'm not pitching around him. I'm trying to get him out with a 3-run lead.
Yeah, I asked Votto about that at bat today, and he said in that spot he's certainly not expecting a guy to throw him a cookie. He said maybe 1 out of every 50 pitches in that spot will I get anything good to hit. And he also feels like if I get it on 3-1, I'll get it on 3-2. That's a confident hitter.
Yeah, and that was a 1-0 ball game at the time, so it made sense for him to think he might be pitched around in that at bat. In this situation, I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't go after him there on 3-1. Just try to throw a good fastball down in the zone, outer third.
Phillips has struck out and bounced out to the pitcher. Ball 1 outside.
Trying to clip the outside corner and
almost
just off that edge. Tough pitch to be consistent with. Pitching coaches talk a lot about glove side command for a pitcher. There it is again. That time he got the swing and miss. Same pitch. Those guys to their arm side command the fastball a lot better than they do to the glove side. Drive that ball all the way across the plate to the outside corner.
Jackson ready. Here's the 1-1. Now 1-2. It's Jay Bruce. swing and a miss, and that will end the inning. As good as we've seen Jackson here early in the season, working with an early lead, and it's held up 3-0 in the fifth. Cubs have played a pretty crisp and clean game so far, all the way around, leading 3-0. Bonifacio has led off twice with hits and has scored both times. 1 ball, no strikes. Make it 1-1. I don't have the details, but just looking at Twitter, that's foul, just foul past third. Bryce Harper benched for not hustling.
Ooh. Matt Williams, new skipper of the Nationals. A couple of strong-willed individuals there, Harper and Williams.
Chase Hughes covers the Nationals for CSN.
It's funny because Bryce Harper
tweeting that
sometimes gets accused of false hustle, over hustle. Plays the game pretty hard.
Two and two.
Cingrani, as we mentioned at the outset, likes to throw his fastball. He's had some success with his changeup today. The curveball really hasn't been there for him. Slide, he's kind of a slurvy breaking ball.
Phillips to Votto for the out.
Celebrate Wrigley Field's official 100th birthday this Wednesday, April 23rd. 1:20 ball game. The Chicago Federals battle against their hated rivals, the Kansas City Packers, and they'll don those 1914 Federal League uniforms as part of the birthday celebration. The first 30,000 fans will receive a replica Federals jersey, and the first 10,000 fans will receive a birthday cupcake compliments of Jewel Osco. All kinds of special ceremonies going on before the game. Should be a great day at the ballpark. Tickets are still available at Cubs.com.
Like Lake broke his bat on a fly to Hamilton in center, 2 outs. Nick Christiani up in the Reds bullpen.
Sounds like a wine, doesn't it? Give me a bottle of the Christiani.
Yeah, shout out to Kathy and Ken Christensen, big Cup fans. Hope Kathy's feeling better. A nice note from Kendall Dale says, my son Peyton is excited that his birthday is the same day that Wrigley turns 100, which, as you mentioned, is this coming Wednesday. So does that mean Peyton's 100? Probably not. But happy birthday anyway.
Miles to the ballpark. Get a cupcake.
Benches have cleared in Boston, Orioles and Red Sox. David Ross yelling at Bud Norris. Those are always fun. A couple of guys start jawing, and then 70 people are spilling out of the bullpen and the dugouts, and then they're like, what happened? I don't know.
It's our responsibility to run out there. The base brawl, that is prevalent in the game now, and that's a good thing. Even in the 70s, there seemed to be a fair bit of it.
Every time we see the Sarge, I have to remind him of all the YouTube videos of him back in the day. We want to mess with him in one of those fights. He played for keeps.
Yeah, you go out to those scrums, and most guys are out there just trying to be peacemakers and making sure things don't get out of hand. But you're always casting your eyes right and left to make sure somebody isn't a little amped up, flying around the pile, throwing haymakers. The best is when you come pouring out of the bullpen and you're running alongside guys from the other team going to join the fray, and you're kind of running along. How you doing? Oh, pretty good. All right. I'll meet you at the pile.
Low on Rizziano after Cingrani's 4th walk of the day. Rizzo aboard with 2 outs. Not sure exactly what happened. Something in the A's-Astros game last night. Jed Lowry bunted. A lopsided game. Astros not happy about it. We'll see if anything happens today. 2-1. A little early for all this tension.
Yeah, well, frustration for sure. And Astros having a hard time winning games. A's won that one 11-3.
As Lowry's point today was something about if you're going to shift, why can't I bunt? Houston was down 7-0, and Lowry bunted against the shift.
How early in the game was it?
High in the air. I think it was really early.
Yeah, he's fine.
The catch made. The inning is over. Cubs lead 3-0. We'll be back. Edwin Jackson has been very good today. The Cubs certainly need it. Especially early on, JD.
Yeah, I think the fastball command has been better than we've seen. The slider the last couple of innings has been a really nice pitch for him. There's the pitching line: 5 innings, 5 hits, no runs, a couple of walks, 5 strikeouts. And Phillips a couple of times chasing high fastballs. He had that 3-pitch inning in the 3rd.
Jay Bruce, a single and a walk. Shallow center, and it's going to drop for his 2nd hit of the afternoon. By the way, I tweeted a recap of the story about the Astros A's last night. That incident happened in the 1st inning. It was 7-0.
Oh, wow.
So, Glenn Casper, if you want to check out that interesting baseball story.
Yeah, I've got no problem with them bunting in the 1st inning. I mean, sure, they put a 7 spot on the board, but the Astros had 8 more times at bat. And if you're going to promise not to try to score, I won't bunt. I'll do, throw in the towel. But if he does it in the 8th inning, then maybe you go, it's kind of bush league. But in the 1st inning, I've got no issues.
Time call. The ball just got out of the Reds bullpen. Well, it feels like the Cubs lead is more than it actually is. Good approach against Cingrani. Jackson's been really good, but it's only a 3-0 lead. Don't want to give the Reds any reason to believe they're in this game.
Yeah, and they have a deep lineup. They've got firepower down at the bottom of the order. Mesoraco, Cozart in the 7 and 8 spots. Both have a little pop. Cozart, the 8-hole hitter, hit 12 or 15 home runs last year. Mesoraco's been red hot. After a slow start, this Reds team has really started to heat up too in recent days. So far, not getting much done against Jackson, and Jeff Samardzija shut him down pretty good yesterday. But prior to that, they've been swinging it well.
As Castillo heads out, Albert Pujols has hit career home run number 498 in Detroit. The Angels trail 5-2 in the top of the 9th.
It's number 5 for Pujols here on the young season. Make it 6. Hitting 282. Wow. Looks like he's back.
The kick, the 2-0. It's a strike called on a fastball.
Todd Frazier with home run power. Looked like he was taking all the way there on 2-0. Somewhat surprised.
Foul pop-up back to the seats.
Carlos Villanueva looking to bounce back from a rough outing last time out against Mike Leake in the finale of this series tomorrow. Cubs miss Homer Bailey and Johnny Cueto in this series. Cueto's been really, really good so far. Homer Bailey has not. Boy, it's not. Just looking at his numbers, those are not pretty. Bailey with an ERA of 8.16 through 3 starts. He's allowed 6 home runs in 14 innings.
You know what? I need to double check here because Cubs notes have Leak and the Reds notes have Bailey tomorrow.
Well, the Reds are showing Bailey.
Yeah. We'll double check. Rob Butcher, their fine media relations man. And they've got Bailey Sunday, Leak Monday. There goes Bruce Frazier. It hits it in the air to center. Bruce got all the way to second as Bonifacio makes the grab, 1 out. Long at bat, resulting in a fly out to center.
Cole Hamels set to make his debut tonight for the Phils. They're in L.A.
Boy, Heisey, he swung and missed at 3 sliders his last time up and promptly does it again to start this at bat.
He's just not seen that pitch at all.
The 0-1 outside. The final in Detroit, Tigers 5, Angels 2. That snaps LA's 10-game winning streak against Detroit. The 1-1 popped up down along the right field line. Rizzo with a good effort, and the fan got a hand on it in the front row.
That no fan interference, ball was out of play. Highly unlikely that Anthony would have been able to corral that one anyway. Good effort though, both guys selling out, giving up the body, trying to make a play.
Red fans in the area, quite sure as a Cubs fan or not, although as we've pointed out before, natural reactions to try to catch it if it's near you, no matter where you're sitting. It's one of those deals where you go, okay, no, my guy might catch it, so I'm going to sit back, and then 8 people jump over you and interfere anyway.
It is. If it's in the stands, it's everybody's going to try to make a play on that ball.
I know it's a sensitive topic here for understandable reasons, but over near the other dugout, about 3 rows up.
Cubs bullpen well rested, had a doubleheader on Wednesday in New York, but off day Monday, rain out Tuesday, off day Thursday. Jeff Samardzija gave him 7 innings yesterday, so not a whole lot of work for the pen these past few days. Should be well rested and ready to go here to finish this ball game off.
Boy, I'll tell you, the more I read about the Bryce Harper situation, and I just caught some video of the incident, I'm not sure Matt Williams is going to be widely lauded for not only taking him out of the game, but for his post-game comments. Apparently, Harper has dealing with some sort of leg injury, a tight quad. And he bounced the ball right back to Lance Lynn. He jogged down the line, but he was going to be out by 30 feet no matter what. And as you said, Harper's reputation is the opposite.
Yeah, that they have to get him to back off sometime.
They're long at bat here. This time it's Heisey. The 2-2 is ripped into center. Well, they, you know who they are, say the longer an at bat goes, the more it favors a hitter. And Heisey certainly got a good look at Edwin Jackson's repertoire in that at bat.
Yeah, well, he's been chasing the slider and not seeing it very well. And I think the whole key for him was the ability to lay off the previous slider that was down out of the strike zone a little bit. I think the fact that he took that pitch convinced Jackson and Castillo that he's starting to wise up to that slider. So they tried the fastball, and Heisey jumped all over it. Sometimes you can overthink a situation. Crash Davis famously said, "Don't think, you can only hurt the ball club."
The best season ticket option in the city continues to be the Executive Club at Wrigley Field. Your guests will enjoy an all-inclusive top-shelf bar and gourmet food in this high-end space with seventh-inning stretch celebrities and former Cubs. For more information, contact the Premier Sales Team, 773-404-4200 or Cubs.com/suites. We will be conducting the stretch today.
I'll be the choir director, and you can sing. I'll just do the hand thing, you know.
No, we're in it together. All or nothing. Mazaraco with 2 on and 1 out, and a ground ball past a diving Alt. The Reds are going to get on the board. Bruce scores. Heisey will be held at third, and Junior Lake with a great throw to the plate, but missed 2 cutoff men. And now the tying runs are in scoring position. It's 3-1.
Mazaraco continues to swing a hot bat, and Jackson trying to go down and away. Was it on the inner part of the plate?
Brings up Cozart. Brian Pena, switch hitting backup catcher, now on deck in Cingrani's spot. Fouled off.
Tying run out there at second base, so the Cubs keep the infield back. Jackson obviously would love a punch out here.
Slow roller. This will get another run in. 3-2. As Barney gets Cozart. It's a 1-run game now, and it will be Pena, and it will not be Jackson to face him. Interesting move here by Brian Price.
Well, Pena's got very good numbers against Jackson. Not a lot of at-bats. 4 out of 9. Maybe that's enough to convince Ricky Renteria. He wants the left-hander. Some confusion down there in the pen, but it's going to be Wesley Wright.
Now he does have a third guy in Soto who can catch if needed. So that's it for Jackson. He'll leave with a 3-2 lead. Pena was going to bat lefty against right-hander Jackson. So he'll turn around and hit right-handed against the lefty right. Very confusing, Wesley.
Yeah, that's very
right. The lefty.
He's the right man for the job.
There you go. I like it.
Turns Pena around to his weaker side. Career 249 against southpaws, 265 against righties for Pena. Better power numbers from the other side. Reds have been very good in the pinch so far this year.
Here's a pitch. It's a strike. Pena signed a 2-year contract to be Mesoraco's backup. Mesoraco is that tying run at third. Pitch. Just missed the outside corner. Well, Cingrani battled, got better as the game went along, and right now trailing. He went 5 innings. Still hasn't allowed more than 5 hits in any of his starts. Gave up 4 today and 3 runs. This game now in the hands of the bullpens. Which may include former Cubs Sean Marshall, as we mentioned off the top. He was activated off the DL today by the Reds. 1-2 on the pinch hitter Pena. Here it comes. Shallow right. The slide and the catch by Ruggiano. Battling the sun a little bit. Nicely done to end the inning and keep the Cubs on top. The Reds settle for 2. It's 3-2 Northsiders. transportation to get to and from Wrigley Field. You could ride your bike and use the Cubs courtesy bike check located near the corner of Clark and Waveland. Cubs provide free parking for drivers and shuttle services on night and weekend games from 3900 North Rockwell. Go to Cubs.com for details. Right-hander Logan Ondrusek is in for his 4th appearance.
Tall righty out of Shiner, Texas. 0-1 with a 5.40 ERA. Fastball, curve, and a split finger pitch.
Ball 1 to Castro.
Reds. I'm throwing Castro a lot of fastballs here this afternoon. Ronnie change up some curveballs, the occasional heater. Ondrusek starts him with a curve, and there's a fastball in. He's been taking good aggressive swings at the fastball this year. Last year he was behind a lot of fastballs. I think he was so concerned with chasing breaking balls out of the zone that he ended up being kind of late to the party on a lot of hittable fastballs. This year, more aggressive early, attacking that fastball. And the results have been good.
Laces that one into right for base hit.
He just got a little better.
His first hit today. A lot of incentive here for the Cubs to tack onto their lead after the Reds closed it to a 1-run advantage.
First time up. First pitch swinging on a Cingrani fastball. Able to keep it fair right down the line for his 3rd home run of the year.
One and two. If there were such a thing as a winter rec basketball league for big league bullpens, the Reds would be pretty good. Guys like Ondrusek and Marshall and Chapman,
yeah.
Broxton could box out.
Oh my goodness.
Power forward.
Yeah, you just let Billy Hamilton be the playmaker, give him the ball, and then the other guys just do all the work on the glass.
Alfredo Simon. Full count, 3-2.
You know, it's funny because I think, you know, a fair bit of that used to go on back in the day when I was a kid. The Expos had a team that would come play charity events, pick up basketball, you know, charity basketball in the offseason. I'm guessing the clubs don't allow that.
No. Castro takes off, swing and a miss. Throw to second is in time. Wow, what a throw by Mesoraco. From where we sit, about halfway to second, you kind of get an idea of whether or not a guy's going to make it. And I would have bet good money that Castro was going to make it. But this was a perfect throw.
He kind of breaks stride as he's looking back in to see whether Olt makes contact or not. Wade is falling. So, you know, we showed you that replay of Hamilton stealing second base earlier, how much speed he carried into the base. Just the opposite with Starlin there. I think he kind of got out of sync a little bit when he looked back in and then kind of had his weight going backwards with that slide. But yeah, nonetheless, great throw by Mesoraco.
inside on Castillo. Solid base hit into center.
Major league hitters after a stolen base hit 800. Not really, it's just my perception. It's amazing how many times after a caught stealing. I guess it's just so you could sit there and go, man, if he'd only been safe.
Barney bats. Big happy 21st birthday, Stan Crusette. Big Cub fan, also officially became a U.S. citizen. Here's a 1-0 pitch. It's high. Nate Scherholtz on deck in the pitcher's spot.
Darwin 0 for 2 today. Hit the ball pretty hard last time up. Lined out to center.
2-1. Short lead by Castillo. Barney cranks one deep to left. Way back there. Out of here. It's a 2-run shot. On a 3-1 offering.
Boy, how good that must feel for Darwin Barney. He lost his everyday playing status. But he got a 3-1 fastball right over the heart of the plate, kind of moving in on him a little bit. Ford home run replay. A no doubter from Darwin Barney, his first home run of the year. That's how you attack a 3-1 fastball.
They get those 2 runs right back. So it's 5-2, and now Kalish will hit instead of Scherholtz. How about that turn of events? We'll strike him out, throw him out, double play, and Andrusik feeling pretty good about getting out of the inning. Then Castillo singled. And Barney with the 2-run homer. That is his 17th career homer, 14th here at Wrigley.
Tell you the other guy that's feeling really good right now is Edwin Jackson out.
No doubt.
Got a little breathing room and looking for his first W of the year.
Kalish takes the walk. Visit from the pitching coach, Jeff Pico.
Obviously, the primary concern here is with Andrusik misfiring a little bit after falling behind Barney and then grooving him a fastball, then walking Kalish. And the other part of the message probably, well, don't fall asleep on Kalish over here at first base either.
Strike one on Bonifacio. "15 games and 7 times he's had at least 2 hits. 0-2. Bounces to the shortstop. Cozart had to get rid of it in a hurry with the speed of Bonifacio, and he beats it out. And it's an infield single.
Looked like that ball hit right off home plate. Big high hop out there to Cozart. Votto wise to come off the bag and just make sure he caught the ball. Go well up the line. Andrusik is done.
Ryan Price grabs the ball. Pitching change from Wrigley. Cubs lead by 3 in the 6th. Product of Vanderbilt University, 13th round draft choice, 2009.
5 games so far this year, and you see the numbers are good. 3 times out of the pen for the Reds last year, after a year in which he was 6-5 with a 386 and 49 appearances for their AAA club at Louisville. Been a reliever exclusively throughout his minor league career. Another Jersey guy.
Junior Lake with 2 on.
Fastball, slider, and a change for Cristiani.
Up the middle, and it'll get through. Here comes Kalish. He's going to score. It's 6-2. How about this crazy inning? Yeah, that strike him out, throw him out. So bases empty, 2 outs. Single, home run, bases empty, 2 outs. Walk, single, single. It's like been 3 different innings wrapped into one.
Yeah, ball moving in on Lake, and he just muscles it up the middle. Cubs with more hits in this inning than they had in the previous 5 off Cingrani. Drusik has been charged with 3, and he's responsible for Bonifacio out there at second base.
The 0-1. Ground to Phillips. Flip to second, inning over. Cubs get 3-2 on a Darwin Barney home run. And the lead is now 4. All Cubs today leading 6-2 as we head into the 7th inning, and it's right-hander Hector Rondon.
Outstanding numbers so far for Rondon as he continues the scoreless streak dating back to last year that has now reached 16 2/3 innings. 16 appearances.
Strike one on Hamilton. He's had a good day at the plate. Line to center's first at bat. Bunt single, and then a single to the outfield with a stolen base tacked on in the 5th. Two and two. Tsuyoshi Wada off to a great start at AAA Iowa. 8 innings yesterday, gave up 1 run. Is the 3rd best ERA in the Pacific Coast League, 0.84. Von Pinheiro pitched well for Tennessee. And a no decision, 6 2/3, no runs. Chris Bryant with his 4th home run. It's tied with Dustin Geiger's teammate for the Southern League lead. Hamilton has his 3rd knock. Let's get the farm report. Wada, a guy the Cubs certainly will keep an eye on in case they need somebody. I mentioned Chris Russin earlier. Cubs will get Jake Arrieta back hopefully very soon. King County off to an 11-4 start in the Midwest League. They're in 1st. Well, the one that's hard to figure out, Daytona, 2-12. Defending champs, Florida State League.
A lot of kids that helped them win that championship have moved up the ladder.
Yep. Oh, 1 on Votto.
Hamilton's been on base 3 times today in his 4 trips to the plate. Again, now you've got a 4-run lead. You want to give Wellington a fighting chance to throw him out if he runs. I guess you could never be surprised if Hamilton tries to steal a base, but down 4, you got to be awfully careful if you're the Reds. Maybe one of the rare times they would give him a hold. If I were Hector Rondon, I would focus all my attention on Joey Votto in the batter's box.
Base hit center field, and the Reds rallying here in the 7th. They got 2 in the 6th. The Cubs answered back with 3. The heart of their order coming up. Follow the Cubs with MLB.com at bat for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, or Windows Phone 8. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text it BAT to 31826. Or head on over to Cubs.com for more. Brandon Phillips 0 for 3.
Left the game early yesterday because of back spasms. Has not looked particularly good swinging the bat today. A couple of punch outs and a comebacker to the mound. Edwin Jackson had him chasing high fastballs.
Fly ball to right. Ruggiano with the catch. Hamilton tags and heads to 3rd. They're at the corners with 1 away.
Well, I guess you would say this is a big at-bat here. Cubs with a comfortable 4-run lead, but Jay Bruce capable of making it very uncomfortable in a hurry.
Outside, ball one. Here's a pitch. Fouled off. Rondon's been a nice story here. Dating back to last year, Rule 5 pick, coming off arm trouble. Seen him just get better and better. Tommy John surgery in August of 2010. Missed most of the following year. Then had to repair a fracture in November of 11. Missed most of 2012. Spent the whole year with the Cubs last year. 1-1, low and in.
Yeah, exactly the type of acquisition you're supposed to make when you're in a rebuilding phase, as the Cubs are. Take a guy who at one point was a pretty good prospect with Cleveland, had some injury problems. Obviously, people had concern about whether he'd be able to bounce back and pitch effectively after the injury. The Cubs, don't have room to make that Rule 5 pick and put him in the big leagues and give him some valuable experience at the big league level last year. Jay Bruce turned 27 earlier this month, already has 166 big league home runs on his resume.
That gets past Alt, and the Reds get a run. Now 6-3. That's an RBI single for Jay Bruce. He's got 3 hits.
Nobody up in the Cubs pen as Bruce picks on this high fastball. Play old. Could have made, but that's a tough chance, boy. And I agree. I think that's a base hit all the way.
Comes Chris Bosio. So Rondon gives up his first run in a while. Came in 16 2/3. Got it to 17 before the RBI single. First and second for Frazier.
Cubs pen has, had their struggles here this year. They've been outscored something like 23-8 in innings 7, 8, and 9.
Deep to right, Ruggiano drifting back. He makes a catch. Votto tags. 2 outs. We'll bring up Chris Heisey. You don't hold your breath too much on a ball like that with the wind slightly blowing in today, but if it were blowing out, that would have been a home run. Pretty good wood on it. Breaking ball, strike. Would you throw this guy a fastball after what you've seen so far today at this point?
They did last time up, and he drilled it for a base hit into center field. And if I threw him a fastball, I would throw it way up out of the zone. Throw him a slider.
He did, and Castillo with a good block. Get this guy here, Mesoraco on deck. He's batting .500. And has 2 doubles today. He's their hottest hitter.
Sequence looks very similar to last time up for Heisey. Swinging at the slider early and then laying off a couple potential swing and miss sliders out of the zone. And last time it bought him a fastball and he lined it into center.
Otto at third, Bruce at first. The pitch. We held. Sets up a 3-2 after an 0-2 start.
Fastball moves up and in on him a little bit. I think they got it right.
Izzo plays behind Bruce. He will take off with this pitch. Ground ball to third, bobbled by Alt. The throw offline. The Reds get a run. Throw to second. Out there.
Oh my.
Time for the stretch.
Just in the nick of time.
Today's guest conductors for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, the Cubs television broadcast team, Len Casper and Jim DeShays.
All right, Cub fans, we need a lot of help. Let's do it for Harry.
A 1, a 2, a 3.
Let's get some runs. runs. An error charge to Mike Olt.
And it tries to hurry that throw after the bobble. The throw sails away on him, and a good heads-up play here by Rizzo, hustling over and getting Heisey there, not even close at second base. He got a little greedy. No such thing as an easy win these days for the Cubs.
Ruggiano bunts. It's a beauty. Frazier will throw late.
Good start. Third time he's been on base today. RBI single in the first, walked in the third.
A lot of action here the last inning and a half. 7 runs combined and a very off-key rendition of the 7th inning stretch. Never gets old. That is always fun. Big crowd
I thought
today.
I was in particularly good voice today. I think I hit 8% of my notes.
There's Sean Marshall, the former Cub, still makes his offseason home here in Chicago and just activated off the DL. Pitch inside, look out. That one came to eat.
Running fastball, and that's what happens when you fly open. Two-seamer really takes off on you.
A pop-up, and it's Phillips just into the grass and right to retire Castro. One away. Here's Olt. 1 out of 3 with a home run. Missed outside, 1-1. Fouled right at the plate. Line to the shortstop, Cozart, and a diving Ruggiano saves himself here, keeps the inning alive.
Late movement by Cristiano, able to just get off the barrel a little bit of Old. Practice bat, hit it fairly hard, but right at Cozart.
Blake Parker. Boy, since Jose Veras was taken out of the 9th inning role, the Cubs really haven't been in this situation, have they?
I don't believe so, no. No, because that was their last win, right? The extra inning game when Welly hit the big home run in St. Louis.
That ball crushed out into deep left. Wellington Castillo with a home run. Every time the Reds come back, the Cubs have an answer. 8-4.
Nice to see the bats break out today. Starts with a little bunt single by Ruggiano, and now a two-run home run from Wellington Castillo. It's our Ford home run replay, and that's number 3 for Wellington. I'm setting the over-under at 15 for Castillo this year.
Okay.
And I'm taking the over.
Barney homered his last time up. 3 homers for the Cubs today.
As Rocco keeps setting up down and away, Cristiano just can't make that pitch with the run he gets on his two-seam fastball. Everything has a tendency to sail in on the right-handed hitters. Hey, how about that? We said let's get some runs, and they got 2 runs. We should be managing this club. That's all you got to do is ask. Thought there was more to it than that.
Right.
Let's get some runs. Boom.
Full count, 3-2. Luis Valbuena on deck for Rondon. Here it comes. Pretty well hit the left again for Barney. In the corner, it's Heisey, and he makes the grab. That'll take us into the 8th. Cubs lead by 4 once again. After the game, go to CSN for Blackhawks Postgame Live. We'll break down the game, take you inside the dressing room, and see where the series is heading. Blackhawks Postgame Live, presented by Hawk Ford. Coming up later after the Blackhawks and Blues, only on CSN. Interesting here, Luis Valbuena comes into play third. Mike Alt goes over to first to replace Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, I didn't see anything with Rizzo. physically, that would lead me to believe that he was hurt. And this game isn't lopsided enough where you think, oh, it's a blowout. Let's just, give him a couple innings off. He's such a good defender. So I'm guessing something might be a little tender. I don't know.
As Araujo leads off, Rondon's still in there. Gave up 2 runs in the 7th. 1 was earned. Popped up into center. Bonifacio's got it. Time now for Cubs fan photo of the game, brought to you by AT&T. Young Cub fan having a photo with Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts. Just to say hi to the fans around the ballpark. Castro ranging to his left to get Cozart.
Yep, just make the plays. Got a 4-run lead. Don't want to walk anybody. Don't kick it around. Don't open up any doors.
Roger Bernardino. Strike called. He went. Are they going to ask? No. What do I know? 1-1. No, he didn't. Good pitch on the outside corner, 1-2.
Soft slider, well placed. If you're wondering where the backdoor slider is, that's it. There's a front door fastball.
Strike 3. Great job by Rondon. Cubs lead 8-4 in the 8th. J.J. Hoover.
Well, small body of work and some ugly numbers so far for Hoover with that ERA of 18.90. He's allowed 5 hits in 3 1/3. 3 of those 5 hits have left the ballpark.
Ryan Sweeney will bat.
See some pretty ugly stat lines for relief pitchers this time of year. 1 or 2 bad outings. Really blow that ERA up.
Swung out and missed. 2-1 on the pinch hitter. Called strike 2-2. A crowd today of 32,966. Sky to left. Caught by Heisey. There's Pedro Strop. It will not be a save situation in the ninth with at least a 4-run lead. Interesting move by Rick Renteria. Rondon gave up those 2 in the 7th, but he stuck with him in the 8th. And that loyalty paid off. He went 1-2-3.
Yeah, and I think you know, having a hard time winning games. Cubs have dropped 5 in a row. I think Renteria was thinking, well, I'm going to try to finish this ball game. I'm going to go with a combination of Rondon and Strop. So even though Rondon got hit around there a little bit that first inning, he came back and was solid in the 8th. Probably threw enough pitches where he won't be available tomorrow. But again, you don't worry so much about tomorrow when you're going through a stretch like the Cubs are. You're just trying to lock down today's game. If you have daughters, you know what that's all about. You know, all those Miss Mary Mack and all that stuff.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. It's high. Rising fastball. Well, Strop will get the top of the Reds order in the ninth. Backpedaling Cozart. 2 hands on it, 2 outs. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but a win today would set up the rubber game tomorrow and a shot for the Cubs to finally win their first series. The Diamondbacks come in for a 4-game series starting Monday. Arizona with an extra innings win last night. Off to a very slow start. Called strike. 4-2 in 12 innings. Aaron Hill with a 2-run single as they beat the Dodgers. Curveball misses low. Now, Cingrani gave up 3, Andrusik 3, Cristiani 2. So the Cubs got the starter out of there after 5 and beat up on the middle of this bullpen.
And it was just, good quality at bats against Cingrani. I mean, he wasn't particularly sharp today, but they made him throw a lot of pitches. He walked 4, threw 104 pitches in 5 innings of work, and that forced Ryan Price's hand a little bit to make that move to the bullpen. And the fact that Edwin Jackson was shutting the Reds down through the early innings of this ball game, so they had to come from behind. A season high 8 runs for the Cubs this afternoon.
They had 1 in the previous 3 games coming in. 3-2 to Lake. Swing and a miss. Blew a fastball by him. But the Cubs lead by 4 as we head to the 9th from Wrigley. Jackson poised to get the win today, and there's a lot to like from his performance.
Yeah, the slider was really, really good. That was a big punch out there. Brandon Phillips with a couple of men on base. That was his final strikeout of the game. That came in the 5th inning. But good, lively fastball. The slider was good. And then, some soft breaking balls, some get over curve balls. Nice job by Jackson and Castillo today in their game plan against the Reds. And now Pedro Strop into trying to finish things off. He's been out there 7 times. 0-1 with a 4.76.
Look at the top of the order, starting with Hamilton, who has reached on singles his last 3 times up. Buena pulled way in at 3rd. And a slow breaking ball for a strike. Cubs 8, Reds 4. Cincinnati win to start this series yesterday. 4-1 the final. Swing and a miss. Foul tip, strike 3.
That's a well-rested Pedro Strop taking the mound here this afternoon. He hasn't been out there in a week, primarily because of the schedule, and also because the Cubs haven't had many leads to hold. Good run on that fastball. So he should be strong. The question is, how sharp will he be in terms of his command? So far, so good.
Kind of seems like Votto's had a quiet day, and he did bounce into a terrifically turned 4-6-3 double play, but he's reached base 3 times. Oh hum.
Yeah, he's an on-base machine. No hits yesterday, but drew a couple of walks. He's been on 5 times in the first 2 games of this series.
Has led the National League in on-base percentage each of the last 4 years, including the start this year. He's been in the 400s the last 6 seasons. It's just what he does, and he's great at it. 2 years ago, he got on base almost half of his plate appearances. 474 on base. Able to check his swing as that ball got away from Castillo. 1-2.
Deep in thought after that little half swing on that breaking ball. He'll take some really funky swings for such a good hitter. He'll take some weird looking swings. He's in the 2-strike mode here.
Two balls, 2 strikes. There it is. Late swing, look out. That ball rocketed into the seats.
That's protect mode right there.
A little quick pitch. Could see that one coming as Votto had to shorten his swing. Little bouncer to Barney. 2 gone.
Well, good work by Strop, changing the pace. The hitter's got a timing mechanism, and Votto wasn't ready to hit.
So on their feet here at the ballpark. Cubs leading by 4. 2 outs in the 9th. Kick, the pitch. Phillips. Ground ball behind the bag. Barney. Cubs win. Cubs win as they snap a 5-game skid. 8-4 the final. And I'll repeat what I just said about Edwin Jackson. There was a lot to like about today's victory.
Yeah, Edwin Jackson was really good. Obviously, the offense broke out in a big way for the first time in a while. Solid defense. You referenced that double play turned earlier in the ball game. Just an all-around good win for the home team here today.
Hope to find out shortly after the game if there was any sort of injury for Anthony Rizzo, and if so, hopefully minor, as he was taken out late. Barney with a home run. Castillo and Olt also pitched in with blasts, and the Cubs now have a chance to win their first series of the season if they can grab Game 3 tomorrow. Strop went 1-2-3 in the 9th. Not a save for him, but he gets those final 3 outs.
And he may be the guy that gets the call if there's a chance to lock it down in the 9th inning tomorrow. Rondon probably not available because of his work, but Strop pretty efficient here this afternoon.
Let's send it down to Kelly Crawl, who's standing by with Darwin Barney.
Absolutely. Well, Darwin, why don't you walk me through that at bat there in the 6th inning? 2 outs, a 3-1 count for you. What'd you see on that pitch?
You know, a lot of the guys they have in the pen, they keep the ball down and have sink or cut, and I was just looking for something up in the zone. I want to get something to fall out there, so I was lucky to put a good swing on it.
Well, quite a day, really, for everyone all around, top to bottom. Hits something you guys haven't had a lot of the last few days, and I know you're pretty sick of hearing it, but what did you see from everyone today in their approaches?
You know, I think we've been swinging the bat all right, hitting a lot of balls at people, but you know, today we were fortunate to have them fall and got some good pitching definitely from the starting, and the relievers came in and did a good job.
Darwin, what can a win do like this for you? I mean, after having struggled, gone on the road, come home, get this win, and now have a shot at this series.
It gives us a chance to win 2 in a row. So, you know, we want to win a series, and we want to get something going. We've had some good wins, but we haven't backed them up with another one, so let's do that.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Great job today.
Thank you.
Guys, Lynn, back to you guys.
Kelly, thank you. And for JD and Kelly and our entire crew, Len Casper saying so long from Wrigley Field, where the Cubs beat the Reds 8-4. We're back here on CSN Monday as the Cubs welcome in the Arizona Diamondbacks at 6:30 for our pregame coverage. Stay tuned. We're not done yet. Blue Cross Blue Shield Cubs Postgame Live is next.